Hi, this is Inga from Reiki Montreal. Today's video is all about how to work with your mean old inner voice. Most of us have one. You know the one that likes to criticize you, that likes to should all over you, the one that never thinks you're doing anything enough. And maybe you don't have it. If that's so, that's awesome. Continue. But if you do, just know that you're not alone. And it's okay. It's really okay that you have that running, running there. But it was a program in your mind. Um, I'd like to give you a few ways to work with it because it's not actually evil. I know it can feel sometimes like it's, oh, if I could just get rid of that little voice and throw it out, everything would be better. But I've tried a lot, doesn't really work. And I've witnessed other people trying, just seems to make it worse. So here's what you can do instead. First of all, just knowing that it's okay that it's there is a good first step. Then second, it's really helpful to get into a bit of a neutral observer position. What I mean by that is it's just imagining that you're taking a step back from your mind and that there's a place in you that's actually really neutral, wise, and can hold space for anything. And what hold space means is that you're not judging, you're just witnessing. So it sounds a little bit like this. Your inner critic is going, you didn't tie your shoelaces properly, you really suck at that. How can't you ever get that right? Silly example, but that's okay. And then as a witnesser, what you might do is just, oh, okay, you feel that you can't tie your shoelaces right. That's okay, I hear that. I hear that it feels like you can't ever do anything right. I hear that. Okay, I hear you. And so it's really about listening. And it can be helpful just to repeat back what your inner critic is saying. So that you can just create a bit of a distance so that you just, and the point is essentially that those thoughts aren't you. They're part of you, they are you, but there's more of you. And the basic idea here, when we're listening and we're taking a step back and we're observing, is that you create more space to hold it. And a really good analogy for this, I've heard this coming from Tara Brach many times, a really great meditation teacher, you should check her out, is that when you have a sink and you put a drop of blue dye in it, the whole sink turns really blue, right? So if we don't have a lot of space and then we got these thoughts of like, oh, you suck. It feels like everything sucks and it's all dyed with the you suck dye. But if you put a little drop of blue dye in the ocean, you don't see it. So creating the observer is creating a bit of a space, just a little bit more space for you to hear those strands of thoughts and creating a bit of distance to know that it's not all of who you are. So that's a first really good idea to start implementing if you're struggling with your inner critic, with your mean little voice. And I realize this is not a how just yet, but we'll get to it. So the how there is really finding a place of curiosity in yourself and gentleness and listening from there and then reflecting back what you hear. So that's the concrete action step that you can do. Now, once you're listening to the inner critic and you've got that place of observer, there's some fun things that you can do. So one of them is from that observer place, from that calm, relaxed place, you can start listening to the inner critic and you can start imagining as if it was a little character. And that's talking. So I've got a few different ones that I've labeled over the years, and it's really helpful because when that particular strand of inner critic comes up, I can, oh, there's the, I'll share with you one. I've got a little know-it-all Einstein who thinks he knows everything and gets all like, and another one, an English tea lady who just wants peace everywhere. So I can hear when they're there, and just having that character kind of brings humor back because life's kind of funny, and we're kind of funny as human beings. We're beautiful, incredible creatures, but there's these parts of us that don't make that much sense. So bringing some humor to it and bringing a little character to it from that observer place can be really helpful. So you can listen to the tone of voice, you can listen to what is that energy there. And as you do that, you can start playing with it. You can start making the voice really loud, really soft. You can make its voice all like squeaky, whatever you like. You can play with it. It's your own mind. But the important place is to really stay in that observer place and to be in that relaxed kind of place where it's no big deal that this is there. I know it feels like it, and I know it can be completely debilitating sometimes, but just to find that place in you, even if it's tiny, that feels like, okay, I'm okay, it's okay. There's just this thing running here, and it's not all of me. The second thing I wanted to bring up of when you're in that observer place, you can start listening to what's behind the criticism, what's behind it. And what you'll often find is that it's trying to work for you. This mean little voice is trying to help you. And it's not very good at it, we can probably agree, but it's coming from a good place often. And I know this is going to set some of you off where you're like, no, there's nothing good that comes out of it. It just wants to hurt me. So I just encourage you to notice what the effect is of that, seeing it that way. Because on a level that's absolutely true, but on another level, seeing it that way creates that fight where you just want to rip it out, right? So bring yourself back to the observer and okay, it's there, and how do we work with it? So what you can do there is really listen to what is it trying to do. I mentioned my little inner Einstein and my little English tea lady. English tea lady, really all she wants is peace. She just wants everybody to be okay, and but she'll kind of nag me so that everything's okay. And when she's active in me, I shrink. You see how I get all teeny? And I lose my boundaries and I lose all sorts of things. So for me to notice, oh, she wants peace is really helpful because I can then use all of my faculties to move in the direction of peace, but not using her strategies of getting teeny. You see sort of how that's working? So listen to what's behind it. Just assuming that it's trying to work for you is really helpful. And then a last thing I wanted to bring up is if it's hard for you to get into the observer role, what you can do is just practice for a little while. Every time you hear those thoughts, just ask, is it true? And sometimes it's going to feel really true, but then you can ask, could it not be true? Like, you suck. Is it true? Well, on many levels, sure. But could it not be true? Yeah, it could also not be true. So just starting to poke holes in those beliefs is really helpful. So I hope this video helps you. And it's a huge topic. These are a few things that have helped me, but I do recognize it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work to tame that inner voice, but I'm here for you. And if you have any questions, please get in touch. So wishing you all the best, and remember that you are enough. Those thoughts, those criticisms aren't true on a fundamental level. So much love and bye-bye.